Hi everyone, welcome to the MarCloud Marketing Cloud Journeys and Salesforce Campaign Integration webinar. So I'm David Spellman, Senior Lead Consultant at MarCloud, and today we're going to be taking you through Marketing Cloud Journeys, how to optimize them with Salesforce campaigns. Over to you, Tom.
Amazing. Thanks, David. Today, super exciting. We're going to go through Marketing Cloud engagement. David's very, very experienced on that side of things. He's probably my equivalent in terms of on the Marketing Cloud engagement side, whereas I'm more on the account engagement side. So whilst we wait a minute just for some more people to join, because we had quite a few sign-ups to this one, David, tell me, what is it that excites you most about Marketing Cloud engagement?
So thanks, Tom. Yeah, so I've used MCE for about 7 years now. So I've kind of seen it all over that time. But what excites me most really is the amount you can do with it. So it's not just emails. You can integrate it with other platforms. You can bring different sources of data in. You can look at kind of SMS, WhatsApp. You can even integrate it with kind of Google Ads and build advertising audiences. So it's such a powerful tool with all the different studios. So for me, you're just kind of learning every day really, and just new stuff coming up, especially with all the Einstein AI features coming up. And you can try and, build some sort of more time for yourself and increase efficiency by doing some of that. So yeah, just interested to see what people think really in that front. So.
Amazing. And now, of course, with Agentforce, there's the WhatsApp transfer, but I won't get ahead of ourselves. We'll let you get into that, David. Amazing. If we go to the next slide, we'll do a quick intro to MarCloud, and then I'll hand back over to you.
Sure.
So for the benefit of everyone on the webinar, we're MarCloud, with the Salesforce marketing automation experts. Our reviews are very good. We get a lot of good 5 out of 5 CSATs. You can check that out on the App Exchange. Work with clients all across the globe, B2B and B2C. Marketing Cloud engagement used to be known as a B2C tool. It's not. You can use it in B2B contexts, and David will go through that. And then finally, we do have our own proprietary ROI framework to help you get the most out of these Marketing Cloud tools. So be sure to follow up after the webinar to hear more about that. I'll hand over to you now, David. Looking forward to getting more into Marketing Cloud engagement.
Thanks, Tom. So today in this webinar, we're going to look at the power of journeys, how they kind of coincide with automation, delve into the kind of the what, why, and the how. Also, we touch on building a customer engagement strategy. What's all the kind of different areas and tactics you need to look at in order to build this for customers. Then sort of part of a demo we're going to look at how Salesforce CRM campaigns can integrate seamlessly with Marketing Cloud and offer, real-time sort of data updates. And then we're going to look at the capabilities of some of the Einstein AI elements, and then finish off with, what we've learned, some key takeaways, and give you guys a chance for a bit of Q&A and if you've got any questions. So that's the agenda. And so journeys. So lots of time, people think, it's all about just email campaigns, but, Marketing Cloud is much, much more. So in journeys themselves, you can push in kind of SMSs so they can be used quite nicely with emails. So if someone hasn't engaged in emails, you can send them up a follow SMS because it's a shorter, more succinct message that really gets the point across. And also you can coincide this with WhatsApp messages as well. And as Tom alluded to earlier, you can use WhatsApp with Agentforce and have the agent kind of like talk backwards and forwards with you based on some of the prompts that you give them. And you can also build in kind of ad audiences in the journeys, whereby you can build an ad audience off the back of, if someone hasn't engaged in the emails, build an ad audience, then like send them a Google or Facebook ad. So you can orchestrate really, really sort of complicated journeys with multi-touch points and really kind of test out, what channels are effective, because there's quite a powerful A/B testing tool in there as well, Path Optimizer, because you can use to test different channels out. So, save yourself the stress, save yourself some time from, the manual processes really, and the batch sends. That's really for Email Studio, and it serves a purpose. But ultimately, this is for the more complex sort of data points and customer journeys, and to save you time as well. So now I'm going to go into a demo in a minute. So what I'm trying to show you here would be, what I'm going to show you is a Salesforce entry event from a campaign object. So I'm going to show you how you can update Salesforce, then inject these members from a campaign into Marketing Cloud, and then how you can change a status in campaign status in Marketing Cloud and update it in Salesforce, and then how you can unlock kind of individual email results in Salesforce from the emails, so it kind of integrates together really well. And then show also some of the other activities like Sales Cloud task creation if a user hasn't engaged with an email. So without further ado, I'm just going to skip across to my demo desktop. Here we go. So what I'm going to do, can everyone see that okay? Is that okay, Tom? Yeah, it's come across. Rightio. So I'm going to create a new journey. So I'm in Journey Builder. So if you're not familiar with Marketing Cloud, you just go on the top, drop down into Journey Builder here. And then I'm going to create a new journey, a multi-step journey. So in order to get this journey to work with Salesforce data, I'm going to drag in a Salesforce data entry source. Click on that. Use a Salesforce campaign. Just need to move this window. Yeah. So at the moment, here's one I made earlier. So I've got one here, campaign. I've already set up here in Salesforce. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to look for that campaign. So if I go in the search bar here, I'm going to go into test. There we go, the webinar campaign test, go to next. And then what I want to do is I want to look at campaign members. So I want to look at stuff like, so it's not just going to be contacts, but I need contacts and leads. So I'm going to look at contact ID, and I'm going to look at lead ID. I might want the first name in there as well. And the most important one is campaign status. So they would say my main fields that I need. Go to next. So now I'm looking at the campaign member object, looking at when, so every time a new campaigner is added to that campaign, they will go into the journey when they're created. And then looking at that campaign criteria, that campaign, and there's some different fields of putting entry data. I mean, you can put as many fields as you want in the entry data, but this is just to show how it could work. So go to done. Why is it not going to done? Strange. There we go, it's in there. Right. So what I'm going to do now is I want to send an email. So I'm going to put my email in. I'm going to select it. Select message. Just one I made earlier, put it in there. And what I would say here is this little tick box here is really important. So if you've got MC Connect set up, you need to have this ticked, because this is where the individual email results syncs into Salesforce. So if that's not ticked, you won't see any email results in Salesforce. And then if you've got your campaign set up beforehand, which you should have, you can add your campaign in here. So for example, I could just go add my campaign there and go to, let's go back there again. Campaign there, go to select, and there we go. Some emails in there. So now I'm going to add, so what I want to do is add a go to the Sales and Service Cloud bit. So I want to add in campaign member, because what I want to do is when they've been sent the email, I want to change the campaign status in Sales Cloud to sent email. So I'm going to do that here. So I'm just going to do a simple update. Campaign member ID as the entry field. And then I'm going to change the status to sent email. And let's go to save. And that's all I'm going to do for this one. I just want the status to change. So what it's saying here is there's a status field in Sales and Service Cloud under the campaign member object. I want it to change to sent email and overwrite it. So I'll go to done, and that's in there. So that's in the journey now. And then, for example, say you wanted to, let me just have a look at my demo before. Yeah. So say you wanted to do like a lead scoring mechanism. A very simple way of doing this would be there's an out of the box kind of update contact. So you can add that in here, and then you can update your data extension. Select it. We'll go to demo. So you need to select you need to basically put your fields into data extension beforehand. So I've put 2 fields in here. So one of them I've got is campaign update. So I want to say they've updated their campaign, they've been sent an email, they might get a score of 5. And then I go to summary, and then it updates it. And then what I might want to do is wait. So because I'm going to send an email soon, this demo, I just want to wait a minute to show you. Wait a minute. And then I'm going to say, have they clicked on the email? So I'm going to use an engagement split. So let me just go to engagement split. And I'm going to look at the email. Yeah. Clicks. And I want them to click on the webinar sign up CTO, for example. So I'll click on that. And then again, I'm going to use my update contact. And then if they have clicked, I'm going to give them a score of 10 based on CTA click. Go back to the data extension again. Go into demo, into that. Okay, let's give them 10 there. That's all right. Okay. So if they haven't clicked on the email, you could do this for a longer journey, but just for example purposes, you could say, okay, this person's been they've been sent 3 emails, they haven't engaged with any of them. You can put them in here. You can say, can we create a task? So that task can go to the salesperson and say, oh, I think this person hasn't set their account up, or they haven't engaged in any emails. Please, can you kind of reach out and help them out? So we can just go create new. And then I can assign it to someone. So say, for example, I want to assign this to myself, a user, in here. And I guess a save. It's assigned to me. And then I'm going to assign to the person in the journey. And the subject, something like, please reach out. Here we go. Please contact this person for assistance if required. They're not clicking. So, for example, something like that. And then I'll show in the demo in a bit how the task gets created and how you can see it in Salesforce. So we go to next there. I'm going to go to done. And there we go. There's our simple journey set up. So what we're going to do now, we're going to save that, and we're going to validate. Takes a bit of time. Right, validate here. Actually, before we do that, I'm going to check my journey settings, because you need to select whether it's going to be no entry, re-entry any time, or re-entry and over exiting. Now, you've got to be quite careful with this. So re-entry any time, I would normally only use if you've got like an e-commerce website and you've got the same person ordering multiple products and you want them to keep re-entering. If it's like a welcome journey, for example, you might say no re-entry because you just want them to go for the welcome series. So for something like this, so they've been created first time, you want them to have no re-entry. Then you've got your email attribute here from the campaign member, the email. And then we're going to go to done. And then we're going to do validate that and see if there's any issues. Actually, I can see now it probably won't like, well, I've got a 1 day wait at the end, actually. It might tell me to change that, possibly. Let's have a look. Okay. So all it's telling, yeah, it doesn't, yeah, it's just saying the one. Yeah, it's fine. You can basically ignore lots of this anyway. These are just wait times, so we don't need to worry about this at the moment. So we can just activate. It's just saying about the final wait time exceeds 3 minutes, which is unnecessary. It's got a day, so we can either go in there now and just change into a minute, or we don't really need to. So we're just going to activate it. So activate now. Let's activate it first. So see that go live, and then we're going to go into Salesforce and add some campaign members and see this working. Takes a bit of time. I think we're nearly there. Fingers crossed. Here we go. Yep, you're on your way. So now this is live. So I'm just going to go out of this because I want to go back into it in a minute. So now we need to decide who we're going to inject into this new journey. So I'm going to go into Salesforce. So this is where all the fun starts. So if I go into, I want to add a lead. There we go. I've got a couple of leads there. So I'm going to add myself in there. And then, yeah, so what I'm going to do, this is where you set your member status. So I don't want them to be sent an email because they haven't been sent an email yet. So I'm going to set them up as new member status, overwrite member status, and go to submit. So that's 2 in there. And now I'm going to go into, I've got one more I wanted to add, just a contact as well. So go into there. Again, tick that. New status, overwrite. There we go. So now we've got 3 members in there. So this should be fairly quick how they go into the journey. So let's just shift across to the journey now and see how we're getting on. Right, we'll just wait for a bit. I mean, you can go to view event results to see what's gone. Here we go. 3 contacts evaluated, 3 accepted. So they've all of them have gone in to the journey. So it's just going to take a bit of time for them to filter through here. So what I'm going to do now is I should receive 3 emails. I know a couple of them are Gmail, so I'm going to go into my phone, wait for the email to come through, and I'm going to click on the CTA link. So let's have a look. There we go, my emails come through. So I'm going to click on the CTA. Yeah, so I've clicked on the CTA. That's great. So I'm just going to go out of this because I'm gonna see when this because we're waiting for this to update the campaign status now after the email. So let's just go back into it. And then I'm going to go back into Salesforce. Okay, it hasn't got to this point yet. So sometimes a journey can be quite slow in these activities. So if I go into here and refresh here, I want that status to change to sent email. So if I just refresh, see if it's done in here yet. Hang on. Let's go to members. Yep, there we go. So it shows how they work, intrinsically together. So you can change this to anything. So you can do it for events. You can change it to registered, or you can do it after an event and change the status to attended or not attended, and update those statuses as you go along. So that's how that bit works. Now, if we go back into Journey Builder now, it's going to filter through the rest of the journey. There we go. So it's updated the context. So if I go into the data extension, let me have a look and just show you contacts in there, as you can see. What entry events do is the good thing about it is you don't have to create a data extension manually like you do if you just put a data extension into the journey. It basically creates it for you because it's taken all of the entry fields that you've put into the event entry, and it basically creates the data extension. So I'm just going to go into that now and show you. Email Studio. Data extension. Yeah, Salesforce demo. Yep. So that's the older one. Where's the newer one gone? That's it. So the contacts have gone into here. So yeah, it goes into an automated data extension where you can see all the information, which is great. And if we go back into the journey, it should basically show that I've clicked on the email. Let's have a look. So it's created a task. And then if we go back into Salesforce, we should see the task come up. If I go into one of the leads. There we go. The task has come up under this lead because the ones I haven't engaged and saying this person needs assistance, and it goes to the relevant kind of salesperson. So yeah, that's really the demo part. So showing how you can intrinsically kind of work between two platforms, and yeah, how they can automatically kind of update each other. So yeah, happy to take any questions at the end. Now I'm going to move on to the next part. So I'm just going to go across. Okay, so next, building a customer engagement strategy. So before you start building all these journeys, you need to really understand kind of all the different elements you need to look at. So before you do it, you need to consider kind of journey goals. So maybe look at your kind of business KPIs. Do you want to get a percentage of customers to purchase from the journey? Do you just want to base it on a percentage who are going to click on the email? Do you want to have a look at a percentage how many are going to register? It all depends on kind of what kind of journey it is. And then in terms of kind of data mapping, Marketing Cloud has a very powerful area called Contact Builder. So once you've synchronized all of your data across from Salesforce, you can start mapping all of your data extensions in Contact Builder. So you might have like a customer data extension, purchases or products, or like a loyalty kind of tier object. And if you start kind of joining that all together in the Contact Builder, you can start using all of those fields in decision splits and journeys in data points using contact data. So it makes it a lot more powerful if you start using that facility. And really consider kind of what's the different journeys you're going to do to the different target markets. Is it going to be kind of an acquisition-based journey or retention journey? How many emails you're going to have in the journey? Is it going to be commercial? Does it need consent? What are the data points? Get it all mapped out beforehand. One thing I quite like to do is map it all out kind of, using like user stories. So what sort of different activities you're going to have? What's it going to basically do? How long is it going to be as an activity? How long are the wait times? There's so much to consider in there. And Automation Studio works hand in hand with Journey Builder. So lots of the time you find yourself having to do SQL queries. So the SQL queries are really for joining all the objects and data together from Salesforce and building your target list. So your final audience list in Marketing Cloud. So it can be basic, it can be advanced. It really depends what you want to achieve, but it's really the fastest and most effective way of doing it. It doesn't have to be SQL. You can import data in via SFTP from different systems and not have to touch SQL if you just got it from one data source. Most of the time, that is the route you would go down. And then for personalization, you've got two options. You've got dynamic content where you can build the dynamic blocks in the email itself. So, for example, you might want to show different products to different customers based on their interests dynamically. You might want to sort of show different content for different ages or different locations. Or you can use AmScript, which is more of an enhanced coding language to build more enhanced personalization. So, for example, you could have different spends and different loyalty tiers, and you can use AmScript in order to show different content for each customer using that method. And then lastly, testing and reporting. Make sure A/B testing is critical. So you need to make sure you've got enough volume going through your journeys. Also have a hypothesis for testing as well. What do you want to do if you're testing different CTAs? Have you got an idea of why you're testing different CTAs? Is it to increase engagement by adding one more CTA to the email? Think about that carefully. Look at the results after. Are they significant? In order to kind of take that test forward into the next iteration. And then a really important part of all of this is testing the journeys. You didn't see my demo, but there's a testing button next to validate where you can test up to 10 contacts in a journey. I mean, this can save you a lot of time because you can see the customer go through the journey end to end and what paths they're taking. So I definitely advise that to be something that you do in every single journey that you activate. And then from a post-reporting perspective, go back to your journey goals, your KPIs, and look at the return on investment on that as well, because you need to ladder that up to senior management on a kind of weekly, monthly basis. So creating customer journeys, we've just gone through sort of demo and some of the main things to look at. Here's one of our ebooks. So I'll just give you a minute just to scan that if you like. That should take you straight to the website. Okay. Next section, integration with CRM and reporting. So Marketing Cloud connector. I think here, Tom, was we going to look at? Yeah.
Yes, we'll get our first poll live. So you'll see something pop up in the bottom right of your screen where we're going to launch our first question. So question is, how confident are you that MC Connect is configured correctly? You can either say 100% confident, pretty sure, not sure, or it's not set up correctly, help. And we'll see what the feedback is. And that's what David showed in the demo, is that integration, that seamless connection between journey in Marketing Cloud engagement and campaign in core Sales Cloud. So it'd be interesting to see the results, and we'll check back in at the end.
Yeah, sounds good, Tom. Thanks for that. So MC Connect, quite a complicated beast. So all setups of Marketing Cloud need this in Salesforce. For me, I see it as the glue, basically. So it's like a golden handshake between one system to another. So every 15 minutes, data will sync from Salesforce to Marketing Cloud. One thing I would say is you've got to be quite careful with what you sync over. So the more contacts you sync over, the more you will pay Salesforce for contacts, but you don't want to pay for contacts that, for example, don't have an email that were active like 3 years ago. So I would suggest you sort of build this on, recency. You could look in the last 6 months or a year, and with an email address, and just make sure if you're doing campaigns with email consent, SMS consent, that you're making sure only records with that come across. So lots of things to consider. It's a complicated platform to set up, but there is a step-by-step process that we go through at MarCloud to kind of get this up and running. Once you've synchronized all the data over, this is where I said earlier about Contact Builder, where you can build your data model with these different objects. So when you sync all the data over, it will go into synchronized data extensions, but you can't use those synchronized data extensions to power journeys off the bat. You have to kind of build data extensions with queries off the back of those. And then once you've built those data extensions, then you can join them all up using Contact Builder and have a wealth of data at your hands available. So yeah, that's just a quick stop tour into connector. Going into more detail, this is some of the stuff I showed you in the demo, but I couldn't show you all of it because there's so much on here. But some of the things here that what we like to use at MarCloud is object activity. So for example, this is really powerful. So you might want to update a lead in any kind of object, custom object or standards. You might want to update the consent status. You might want to create a new lead. You might want to do so if you do a more customized lead scoring model using kind of SQL queries, more in depth, you can aggregate all those scores using Marketing Cloud. And then you can basically have a custom field in Salesforce. You can set the lead score, and that lead score field under lead or contact can be updated using object activity. So really, really good to use. Campaign member we looked at earlier. So adding contacts or leads to a campaign, particular status. It could be any status. Converting leads is quite good as well, because, for example, you could run a campaign of qualified leads, and then you convert them into a contact and send a task to the lead owner once they've done a certain action you want them to do to become a contact. And then cases are powerful as well, because if you're using Service Cloud, you might have customer service agents that can contact the customer if they're unhappy about something, and you can raise a case and say this customer has given us, for example, like a poor CSAT rating, customer satisfaction rating. Can you contact them to see if there's an issue or they want to help their account, etc.? So that's a quick run through of those. Just going to check where we are on time. Okay, so understanding individual email results. So this is really important to understand, because individual email results show on the contact and the lead records. And where I said earlier, you could send the tracking results back to Sales Cloud. Make sure you tick that on your journeys and emails. So this will, for every single email you do, you'll be able to see for each contact, so which ones have bounced, soft bounce, how many clicks it's got, what links they've clicked on, and then from these individual email results, you can build custom reports in Salesforce using all of this data, and to really build a picture of which emails are performing and which emails aren't. And then further into campaign reporting, the out of the box one here is this screenshot here, where you can look at a simple campaign report and have a look at the campaigns and see the value of the closed won opportunities. Now, this will really give you an indication of, which ones are performing the best. You can even go one step further, and in Salesforce, you can turn on kind of campaign influence in the setup, and you can unlock 2 additional reports: campaign ROI analysis report and campaign with influenced opportunities, and show which campaigns have influenced the most opportunities and the value. And also, as part of MarCloud's ROI framework, we have an in-depth kind of look into campaign reporting and how we can look at this more in depth for you. So that's one of the elements there.
And we do have another poll live. So if you jump to the poll section again, you can let us know, are you actually tracking ROI in Salesforce via campaigns? So can you see each of the marketing touch points across your customer journey, and can you attribute ROI across all of those touch points? Could be a first touch model, last touch, even touch, could be custom. Completely up to you on how you sort of navigate and track the ROI. And as David said, we have an ROI framework on the website. We can talk more about that separately. But it's really important that you are attributing revenue back to the activities, that you can understand what is working, what's not working, and double down on the things that actually bring you results.
Yeah, thanks, Tom. Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, perfect. So the last section here I'm going to look at before we take questions is, I'm just going to quickly run through some of the Einstein features. So we have send-time optimization. So I would say use this in front of emails if you want to send emails to the nearest hour. So it looks at when the contact is most likely to engage, open or click an email, and it sends that email at the right time every time. What you can do here is also look across the days of the week, and it will tell you, say, for example, Tuesday, most people like to engage at 10 o'clock. So you can plan your campaigns around that time, because most people will be likely to engage at that time. So really useful feature. I use it a lot, and it does really increase kind of click-through rates on campaigns. Also, engagement scoring. So I like to use this. This has 4 different buckets. So for example, say you have loyalists, high clickers, high openers. You might want to send a more exclusive kind of content or an event to them, as opposed to the win back dormant audience, where you would potentially do a re-engagement series campaign with a more exclusive offer and trying to kind of win them back. So you just need to have different messages for these different segments, and then you'll see your kind of click-through rates kind of soar. And this data lives in Marketing Cloud and data extensions, which is really handy. But potentially you could sync the category to Sales Cloud with a custom field. Plus, if you did a custom lead scoring model for those scores and those categories for the type of content to engage with, you could have this sit alongside those engagement scoring splits to really see how your customers are interacting with your email campaigns, or push notification campaigns as well. It does that. So engagement frequency, this can be used with STO, the send time optimization. So what you need to be aware of here is a contact or lead will become very saturated quickly if they don't engage with an email within 28 days, because it looks at the most recent 28 days of data. You can use this with send time optimization for kind of more hyper-personalized campaigns. So you could be sending less emails to the saturated and really focusing on the contacts that are undersaturated. You could have some undersaturated contacts in the loyalist segment. Win-win, because that is exactly what you would want to really target with your email campaigns, to get more messages out to them in a quick way. And the last bit here, generative AI. So you may or may not have seen this, but it's fairly new in Marketing Cloud. So what you can do is set your brand's personality, and Einstein will basically create the subject or the body copy for you. So I don't know if you're anything like me, but if you have a total mental block, if you're writing a blog or something, you might want to get some ideas. Go in here, see what it can do. So, for example, I will set my key message in here for a subject line. So I want to send a promotional email that clearly states there's only 24 hours left to buy a pair of trainers. The call to action will go to the website to buy some trainers with a code. It then spits out some subject lines. I base it on a casual personality. You can have a formal personality, informative, or whatever personality you like. And it's really for sort of testing out and seeing what grabs the contact's attention. So, Tom, I think we might have another.
We have our final poll, and this is how well is Einstein working for your business. So this is on the assumption that it's enabled, and like David says, there's 100 different ways that you could use this, and I think it's important for certain brands where sort of centralized teams or head of marketing contacts would be sort of owning the prompts to some degree, so that they have some control over what types of subject lines. For example, we know that some of our clients would never use emojis, so we could use that in the prompt. We would say, never include an emoji in the output that you give us. And there's certain sort of parameters and boundaries that you can put in place to make it work for you. And I think that's the most important sort of consideration with anything Gen AI at this point. It's so powerful and such an open field that you do need to sort of narrow it down to what would work for you and your teams, because otherwise it could create erroneous results. The more you train it, the more that you work with it and put the guardrails in place, it then becomes really exciting and really sort of powerful in making your teams far more productive.
Yeah, definitely, Tom. Definitely. Thank you for that. The last ebook to scan is one-on-one on Einstein, actually, a guide to Salesforce Marketing GPT. So just give you a moment there if you'd like to scan that, and then we'll move on to any questions that you have. So there we go. Okay. So the last bit, key takeaways. Always plan your journey design. So always know your outcomes. Make sure it's measurable. You need to report this back to senior management or above. Be agile with your journeys. Don't be afraid. Be bold with your channels. Don't just use emails. Test out different channels. See what's working most effectively. Use that multi-channel approach and become more integrated with your CRM. Like you've seen today, Marketing Cloud can work seamlessly with Salesforce for data exchange between one and the other, and for reporting purposes as well, because reporting in Marketing Cloud can sometimes be sketchy in parts. I say sketchy, somebody else's box reports could be improved. So using the Salesforce reporting, you get a wealth of reports in there from the Marketing Cloud campaigns where you can really slice and dice the reports themselves. And as we just said, really get clued up on Einstein. It's not going anywhere, and see what value AI can bring. Save yourself some time, get some richer insights. So that's me. And hopefully we got a little bit of time for questions. I think there's about 2 minutes left, Tom, I think. So
that's fine. We do have one immediate question, which is from Nanda Kumar. Hi, David. Is it possible to export contacts and their related details, like contact created date, from Salesforce Marketing Cloud?
Contact created date. So there will be a contact created date in Salesforce. So yes, you can bring across the created date into the data extension, the event entry data extension in Marketing Cloud, and you can see when all those contacts releases were created. That's probably how I would do it. Does that answer your question?
And that can then be exported, right?
Yes. Yeah, that could be exported out. So it depends when you want to export it to. You can export it as a data extension. You can export it as an Excel sheet, and then you can look at all of those contacts if that's what you want to do.
Amazing.
Yeah. Okay.
We have another question. So is it possible to use various entry points that we want to go through an email nurture series? For example, we want prospects from 3 different events to go through the same email nurture.
Okay, so prospects from 3 different events, the same journey. Okay, so yes, so you could basically you could look at free campaigns in your event entry. You could insert them from the free campaigns, and they could all go into the journey from the start. And then you could nurture them with all the different emails along the way. So yes, you could potentially do that. You could just set it up on the entry event side. Yeah.
So that entry event would look for, that would be part of the criteria in the beginning. It'd be if someone is part of event campaign 1 or event campaign 2 or event campaign 3. Is that right?
Yeah, that's it. Just using an all mechanism. Yeah, that would work. And that's how we would do it. Yeah. So that's possible. Definitely. Yeah.
Amazing. So that's doable. Brilliant. Those are the
win. Yeah.
Yeah. Those are the 2 questions we've got. If anyone else has a question, please answer it now, or ask it now. Sorry. If not, we can wrap things up, and hopefully this has been insightful and helpful. And obviously we're here to answer any questions. If you need any help with Marketing Cloud or even Sales Cloud, setting up campaigns, setting up ROI tracking, etc. So yeah, just feel free to reach out by the website, our email. You've got our details. So if that's everything, then thank you very much, David, and thanks everyone for attending today. Hope it's been helpful, and I guess we can wrap up there.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you.